Greetings, I am Ken Dickey, and this is Cuis Smalltalk, and I'm going to make a little series of hopefully short videos on solitaire, which seems like a pedestrian exercise, but it's one of my things that I tend to do if I learn a new language. I port solitaire to it, and it teaches me a lot about what I can do and what I can't, and I think you'll find some interesting things here. The first thing when I open Cuis up after a bit, I've done an update. I did a pull, and so what I like to do is make sure I'm up to the latest level. So I've done an install of that, the latest and greatest. And now I'm going to want to talk about solitaire. So I'm going to want to open a workspace and have the system load it for me. And the way to do that is to require a feature called Morphic Games Solitaire. And if I right click on this, I can say do it. And so it's going through and it's getting some file compression and graphics things and some goodies, and now it's getting the Morphic Game Solitaire. Okay, so if I now go and say new morph, I can go to layouts, and the games happen to be layouts, and I can go ahead and bring up a solitaire game, and depending on the size of your screen and how dense your display is, you might want to do something slightly different. So let's use FreeCell, new game with scale, say 1.2, make it a little bit bigger. And now if I do it from here, we don't yet have scaling in the user interface. We're working on that stuff, but until the real thing comes along, we can play around and get the scale we want. And so I want to talk about the design, the operational mechanics, how things play together here. And one of the things is, you'll see we've got some auto move behavior. How I tend to think of these sorts of things is that and we've got some rules where I can put things some places and some things they aren't appropriate. And these are addictive. It's hard not to play when you pull these things up. Anyway, be that as it may. The other thing is, there are a number of things that are going on here. One is we can certainly want to know the rules of a particular game. You'll notice that despite the slight difference in magnification, we have some common areas. We've got a label up here. We've got, in this case, a deck and a place for a discard area. Building up suits, we've got card columns. If I middle click, I can see the layouts and things. And so we see here's a card column morph. So we have actually just go ahead and do this. So we have a label area here. We have morph this way. So we have the columns there, and then we have the button area down in the bottom. Okay, but you notice, as I say, a lot of these things, there's a lot of carryover between the two different things, and we like to share things. And beyond that, we have a universe of discourse. So in terms of the universe of discourse, we have things like spares and piles and card columns, and then we have relations. What's a legal move? Can I move this over here? No. Can I move this over here? Yes. And there's auto move. There's the ability to save and restore games. Let's see. I guess I don't have a saved game here to restore. Let me try this side. Okay, here's a saved game. So you can see you can go back and so like here was a choice point between which these two jacks to move, and go on and play from there. So sometimes you want to go one way and sometimes another, and sometimes you have to back up, so you can do undo. And so there's at least until the last save point. So there's starting over from scratch. You can play a game from scratch, get new games and so forth. And new games, obviously you get different deals. So we have a number of things going on here. So we have the ability to save and restore. We're talking to the file system. We're doing with sources of random numbers. We've got some drag and drop behavior as we pick things up and drag them around. We've got a set of rules as to what a legal move is and how this whole thing applies to itself. And we have, as I say, auto move and so forth. So that's what I want to do, is sort of go through in this series. And so this is just the quick overview. And so if we look here, this is a Klondike game. If we get down to the debug, we can say browse morph class. And so that was a middle click that got me to, command click that got me to the construction halos around that morph. And so this is a hierarchy browser, and which is what it says up there. And so a Klondike well, I should say, inherits from a card table morph. So card table morph has the common behavior to the playing table, and it knows how to build the buttons and the button area and so forth, and address itself. It knows about itself and what it is. It does common things like auto move, and so we can, I'll show you this in more detail, animate moves from and to and so forth. If we take a look at the class size, we can see that once you win a game, there's a storage of all kinds of, you get some random winning banner, like collect all 50 winning banners, whatever, and those sorts of things, just to make it a little more fun. But again, those are shared, so they're shared between the classes here. And now I want to go ahead and browse, because I want the standard browser and not a hierarchy browser, because all of the Morphic game solitaire code that I'm interested in showing off is under this one Morphic game solitaire category here. And so these are all the classes we're going to deal with. And so the bottom up view starts with cards and card containers and a card deck, and a scale card morph is a card with a scale, and a card morph, among other things, has a card number, and it knows if it's face up or down. And we can go through, and we've got some things that we can, let me go ahead and right click and inspect this, get a value, and you see here we indeed have the 3 of hearts, and we can open those up and put them on the display and so forth. And we look and we see it has a card number 10. And so what's going on here is that each card in the deck has its own number. And so ace 2 3 4 5 off by suits. So modulo 4 gives you, and modulo 13 give you the value and the suit. And so from any card number, it's easy to get the suit, or the whether it's red or black, or its actual value in terms of the face name, and then you can index into the card images using the card number and so forth. just a little bit of finesse in the math, and you can compare two cards with one comparison operation. So comparing card numbers is pretty easily, and then you can go ahead and do some things from there. So that is a real quick overview of what we're going to look at here. And now I'd like you to click on the next one, and then we can get into some of the details of the, as I say, the operational mechanics. Maybe next we should look at talking to the file system and how we get things in and out and save games and so forth. So I hope to see you next time. And here we are. Oops.